back to the Wheels Up podcast. Happy Halloween, everyone. It's not Halloween while we're recording, but it will be, according to our schedule. It'll be Halloween when this goes up, so happy Halloween. I hope everyone is having a safe and happy Halloween. And welcome back to the Wheels Up podcast. I'm Frankie. This is my co-host, Mary. But today, we are undercover, as agents are. I am SSA Emily Prentice. This is...
I am technical analyst Penelope Garcia.
Wow, amazing. And
I can't see these classes, by the way, so I'm probably going to take them off.
Yeah, sorry to ruin the effect. I know you guys were totally fooled, but this is not actually technical analyst.
They're my friends. I just stole them for the day.
Okay. Wow, a thief. A thief and a liar.
I just can't do homework for today because I'm using them. She needs them.
Oh my god. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. Penelope Garcia, can you please introduce what we will be talking about today in our podcast?
Today, we will be talking about the spookiest and most unsettling unsubs that we personally can remember from our personal opinion. Don't get on us about that.
Yeah, we don't remember a lot. These are just people that are memorable for us, and we're calling them interesting and spooky just because we don't want to say these are our favorite unsubs. That just seems wrong.
That sounds bad.
These are just unsubs that we find especially interesting and want to talk about and can remember.
Mine are the ones that personally freaked me out, and I was like thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, that's scary.
Okay, mine are just like, I remember you. Also, shout out to the Criminal Minds fandom Wikipedia page, to all like the curators on the website. You guys are lifesavers, and you guys are 75% of the reason why this podcast can even work. I get most of the info for these episodes from there, so go check that out if you're a Criminal Minds fan. So Mary, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I need to take these off. I might put them back on later. I can't read them on. Okay. My eyes are just too good.
The sight. Okay.
All right. Okay, so I wanted to just set the mood with a scene that when I watched it, it honestly like scared me. Like I jumped in my bed. I was like, like the rest of the episode, I don't remember it being overly scary or freaky, but just this like one scene. Okay. And it's from season 12, episode 6. And so it's these 4 kids have been like abducted and they wake up in the basement of this house.
Yeah,
just
really
that. Like the first time I watched it, I didn't jump this time because I knew it was coming. But like the first time, I honestly was like,
it's very scary.
Yeah, I didn't really need to talk about the episode. I just thought it was just a scary scene.
I thought that was one of your unsubs. I was like, where's the context? Okay.
I honestly can't remember who the unsub was.
Okay.
I remember that it was based around these 2 twins that got abducted like 30 years before.
Oh yeah.
And like that was the guy who like popped out, and they were just like they were like had Stockholm syndrome, and they were just like held in captivity in that cabin by that guy, but I don't remember who the guy was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Can you hear me? Because I realized I didn't have my AirPods in.
I can hear you.
You're just kind of quiet, but I don't know. That's probably just my computer. Oh, there we go. Okay. Never mind. We're good. No, I just had my sound down.
Okay. Imagine if you were like mute me and you're like, I can't hear you. I guess I have to do
What's going on
by myself. Okay. So I'll go first.
Sure.
So what if I just went ham on editing for this one podcast?
After last time?
Yeah, and then after this, all the podcasts are just like trash, completely unedited. Okay, anyways. So my first unsub, you know what? I'll go ham on editing. It'll be fine.
All
My
right.
first
You're
unsub,
gonna say that, and then you're just gonna upload without even looking at it.
you know me too well. I would like to point out the fact that I actually am, in fact, going ham on this editing. Can you see that? 2:49. Well, it's back. 2:49 a.m. in the morning. I am very tired, but I am in fact editing this. So, my first unsub is Danny Murphy. He is from season 4. Which episode? Season 4. 20. Season 4, episode 21. So the background for Danny Murphy, the context is that so the team gets invited in on a case. The case is that this kid has gone missing, and coincidentally, there's also been a slew of other like children gone missing, and so they're thinking it's the same killer. And the police over there seem to be very adamant on finding the kid and like helping the team and such and such. But the police over there also are very adamant about connecting all of the killings together, like all the kidnappings of the kids, because they're the police seem really assured, especially the sheriff, that it's the same unsub. And so going deeper into the episode, we found out that the kid who's missing has a brother. That's just a detail. I'm horrible at explaining things. Okay, so they find someone and I'm pretty sure they pin the first few kidnappings on him, but they're unable to pin the current missing child on this guy. Soon enough, though, they find the body of the kid. I'm pretty sure his name is Kyle. And so while interrogating the parents, it becomes very apparent to, I believe, Prentice, me specifically, that his brother Danny is a little off. He's a little angry. He's a little unhinged. And so they finally make the connection that Danny killed his brother because Danny is a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole time, the sheriff and the parents have been covering this up. I remember this episode so well, and despite how terrible I explained it, I do remember this episode really well. And every time I watch this episode, it's like watching for the first time, and I'm just absolutely stunned. And I love this episode because it has such a good twist to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the moment when Prentice is talking about how Danny's a sociopath and how they know that he killed Kyle is such a good moment. I should have did a video clip. Maybe I'll insert one. Like, it'll be really fancy.
That ham on editing
Oh
comes
my
through.
God. Can I just pay a broke college kid to edit this? I'm sure someone
Me.
out there. I'm not gonna pay you.
But I'm a broke college kid.
You're also the co-host. Comment below if you're a broke college kid and want to edit our podcast for I don't know how many bucks an episode. It's gonna be very lowbrow editing. I can pay you $10 an episode. That's very low, but
1 cent per viewer. So 9 cents.
It's so awful. Hey, anyone out there, if you want to work a below minimum wage job for us, comment below. Okay, anyways, yeah. But also the part that gets me about this particular unsub is the part when Prentice says that Danny, that's his name, Danny stuffed plane parts down his brother's throat after killing him. And the crazy part is that the parents didn't know that. I think if the parents knew that, they probably would have gone to the police straight away, because that's beyond accident. That's like you were trying to kill and hurt someone. But I don't love. I find Danny as an unsub very interesting because I don't know. He's in middle school. He's like 10 or 11 or something. He's barely a teenager, and he's a budding sociopath, which is I might even say psychopath because he's shown violent tendencies. But but yeah, no, I just find this one so interesting just because I think it's crazy and it's just I think when anytime a kid is the unsub, it's kind of taken aback but it's kind of scary to think also at the same time that these things are very possible. Like there are adolescents out there who hurt people, which is a very scary topic. We won't get into that today. Mary, do you have anything to say about this particular unsub?
I just remember that one scene after Prentice like tells the parents about the like putting the plane parts down the kid's throat. There's like, because the parents and Prentice, and I think one of the other team members, I can't remember who, are in this like interrogation room. And then the kid is out right outside there in like kind of like the common space. And Prentice tells the parents, and like the mom starts crying. And then like everyone looks through the like little window in the door, and you can just see Danny out there. And like he's completely blank faced and just staring at the parents. And the mom's like sobbing because they just lost both their kids.
It's like, big shout out to whoever played Danny. That a great kid actor.
Yeah.
He played
like from the beginning, you can tell something's off, but you just think it's like grief.
Yeah.
And then just like that scene where like Prentice figures everything out, it's crazy.
It's great, and I love the nuances of it. Like there's a scene where like Danny obviously doesn't, because he's a sociopath, it doesn't feel bad, doesn't really feel remorse about killing his brother. But there's a part where he shows emotion, but it's only because he's afraid of getting in trouble. And it's not because he like just killed his own brother, which is crazy. It's but fantastic episode. Highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen it. We just spoiled the whole thing for you, but I
like the second season.
It's season 4.
Oh, I thought it was earlier. I don't know why.
Anyways, I will hand it off to Miss Penelope Garcia for our next unsub.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll start off with, I think this is my earliest one, like season wise, is season 3, episode 3, Scared to Death, and the unsub is Howard Goodman, and like the unsub is he's a psychologist, and he works specifically in helping people deal with their phobias. And throughout the episode, he convinces, and like this is also something that's kind of creepy and spooky, is that he specifically looks for people that have just moved to town and don't have any connections, any family in the area, any new friends, live by themselves. And then he convinces them to like join a study to like work on curing their phobias. And then he kills them using their phobia. So like their greatest fear. So I remember there was someone who was scared of the water and swimming, and while like he's convinced these people that he's trying to help them by, what's the thing where you do the thing that they're afraid of so that they like aren't afraid of it anymore?
Immersion therapy?
Yeah, he convinces them they're doing immersion therapy. So like I remember the scene where he like kills the first person, is there's someone like in the water, and he has them like on like this hook thing. And he's like, they like trust him because he's like their doctor. And then he like just pushes the person out into the water because he can't swim, and then pushes him under the water, and he drowns to death. And his greatest fear is the water and drowning. And I just think that's really it's like just very scary, because it's their greatest fear, and they trusted their doctor up until that moment that they realize that they're going to die. And I remember there was someone that was the girl that they save at the end, she's afraid of being buried alive, and he literally buries her alive in the basement of a building. So
I remember that one. Which that one is especially like scary, just because that, to me, that reads as like, that's, I feel like one of the most psychopathic psychopaths on the show, and like because that's like so specific. That's different than like, I guess, tying someone up and then like torturing them with like weapons. It's like a very specific, I want you to be scared in this moment.
Yeah.
And I want, like, that's insane.
Like, it's like the most extreme like sadism that I've seen, just
Oh, yeah.
because he's like making them as terrified as they ever will be in their entire life to kill them. And I remember the like final scene when they're like trying to catch him.
Mhm.
Like Hotch and him are like up on the roof, and he like meets eyes with Hotch because like everyone knows he's gonna jump. And he says, "So you're in law enforcement. I bet your greatest fear is not being able to save everyone, because they know that the girl is somewhere in that building and she's dying like at that second." And then he jumps.
God, that hits home. But if you were one of his victims, what do you think your greatest fear would be? And what fashion do you think you'd be killed in? That's the question.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, I thought you were doing the thing where you're like, comment down below.
No, I don't want that's so sad. No, you answer.
I don't think I have any like physical like phobias that like someone could like do. Like failure and like being alone, like someone couldn't like kill me with that, probably.
I don't know. So you really have no physical.
Are you trying to think? I mean, not like phobia level.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what mine would be. Mine would probably be moths.
Do you know what really creeps me out, which I think would be an awful way to die? Is, remember that episode where the guy was convinced he had bugs under his skin?
Oh God.
And then he like puts the people in the pipes surrounded by the roaches.
Yep.
And then they like die because he drugs them and they have like a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh God, that episode's so terrifying. You know what? That episode makes me mad. Because towards the end, I know she can't help it, but there is a woman in that episode who suffers from the same mental illness that the Unsub did.
Yeah.
And so she also sees bugs under her skin. Oh, maybe not specifically bugs under her skin, but she has a issue similar to his. And at the end,
I remember at some point she like looks at her blood under a microscope and she sees things like wriggling around or something.
Yeah, the anger I have is that at the end of the episode, she still fully believes in what the Unsub was doing. And I know that's not her fault that she has a mental illness, but it just makes me really mad towards the end. Just because, but yeah. What were we talking about before that? I know that wasn't the Unsub we were talking about.
Our greatest fear.
Oh, yeah.
You have one?
Moths. Oh my God. Like a room full of moths. Moths freak me out. I don't know why. I am not scared of spiders. I am not scared of snakes. I am fine with butterflies, but moths terrify me, and I hate pictures of those really big moths that people can just look at. Like, what? Mothman scares the shit out of me. I can't look at a picture of Mothman. He scares me. I can't do it. It freaks me out. Genuinely, I get very scared. I'm trying to think what else would scare me. Drowning.
What if you had just started there though?
What?
Like, what's your greatest fear? And then you're like, Mothman.
Mothman is that's so scary. Moths, but I know
moths don't personally scare me that much.
Good for you. But I can't look at pictures of moths, but like I have a problem because I feel like the internet weirdly praises Mothman. But anyways, no, yeah, moths and I think putting me in the middle of the ocean would terrify the shit out of me. Like if you took me on a boat and dropped me in the middle of like a 60-foot, 120-foot ocean, I'd be scared shitless. I can kind of swim, kind of can't. And my biggest fear is like in being in the ocean and seeing like a shark or like a whale or something just big. Like that terrifies me. I have nightmares about that.
A whale wouldn't kill you though.
It wouldn't, but the thought of it being there scared. You know how big a whale is? It's like bigger than a school bus. I don't like that. The scene.
Okay.
The scene from Finding Nemo where I think what's his name? His dad. I don't forget his name. His dad, Nemo's
Merlin.
dad, Merlin and Dory get eaten.
Or is it Marlin? I don't know.
I think it's Marlin. Marlin and Dory get eaten by a whale, and they make it out alive. Obviously, you know how sad the movie would be if it ended there. But like they get eaten by a whale, and that part always terrifies me. I watched that as a kid, and I was just terrified. The ocean scares me.
Okay.
Don't swim, kids. Never swim. Unless you have a pool. Don't, that's very classist. Just don't, I don't know. I don't recommend the ocean.
Okay, there's public pools. It doesn't have to be your pool.
Public pools and pools are fine. Lakes too, rivers, I guess. Just don't go into the ocean. Unless you're like
Okay, let's pivot off passing judgment on all bodies of water. I think it's your turn.
Okay, my next unsub, we're gonna keep. Okay, no, I don't want to talk about her right away. Let's talk about this one. Sarah Jean Mason. For me, this is another good twisty episode. So basically, she and her, I don't know if they're ever married. Let's just say former husband, former boyfriend, are convicted of killing like a good like 20-ish, somewhere around that number of young teenage girls, I believe. So they both convicted. They're both in prison. They're both on death row, and basically, I forget why the team has been invited, but the team has been invited to, I guess, interview both of them. They're both on death row, and Gideon immediately sees something kind of off with Sarah Jane because she's not what you would expect from someone who has helped someone kill like 20-ish teenage girls. And it soon starts to unravel that she didn't actually help her former husband slash boyfriend kill them. She just never really. She knew that he was taking girls back into a shed, but she didn't know what he was actually doing to them. And that's slowly unraveled, and then it's slowly revealed that she has a son that people believe that they had also killed. Turns out she had just given the son away for adoption. And he would have been proof of her innocence. And so at the end of the episode, they're rushing to find her son because if they had found her son, it would, she would be proven innocent, at least for his murder, because he's taken on a new identity through the adoption. But so they find her son actually in time, but then she's begging Gideon not to actually tell anyone because letting him live a life without her, she sees as like an ultimate sacrifice and gift, and that's the best thing she can do for him, for her son. And I love this episode, and I honestly love her character, just because it's such a noble thing to do. Like, she decided that, hey, I'm gonna do what I can for my son because I didn't do enough for those girls. Yeah, I think it's a great episode. I think it's a great unsub. It's a very well written unsub. Not even technically unsub because she technically didn't do anything. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to her because I think it's a very good twist, and I think we see a very different side of Gideon as a character, for just letting her do what she wants and fulfill her duty as a mother as she sees it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to speak about that?
I don't remember that episode super well.
Okay.
But yeah, it was an interesting twist at the end. I remember that. Once again, we had different ideas of what we were supposed to pick because I thought we were doing scary things, and you're like, let's just do interesting things.
Here's a fun fact about this. Mary and I we meet for the podcast.
No, we talked last time. I said, are we doing interesting unsubs? Or are we doing unsubs that scared us? You said scared us.
I thought it said interesting. It's fine.
Maybe I just heard what I wanted to hear.
This is not a professional thing. It's fine. But yeah, here's the thing. Mary and I don't like have meetings for the podcast. We have meetings for like 15 to 20 minutes after we record. But throughout the week, it's very much let's not talk about the podcast until we have to do it.
Didn't you say that last week that you were gonna say that like this is the first podcast we've had where we didn't talk on FaceTime in between?
Yeah, okay, fun fact. Mary and I have a tendency we talk a lot. Even not about the podcast. We FaceTime and text a lot throughout the week. And I was about to say that this was the first week that we didn't have like a full FaceTime between the episodes, but we ended up rescheduling this episode a couple times, and we ended up FaceTiming, what was it, yesterday or the day before that?
It was Sunday, because we were supposed to record on Sunday, and then we just FaceTime Sunday night.
So we ended up FaceTiming for a little bit. And so yeah. Mary, do you want to move on with your next unsub?
Yes. Okay, so this next one, I know basically nothing about the backstory.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. Remember it was an episode in season 12.
Okay.
And I could have looked up what exact episode it was, but I didn't feel like it. I also, because I had my list and then I was like walking earlier and I was like, oh, that one was also scary. And then I like wrote it down and then I forgot to do any research on it. But so I'm just going to talk about it based on what I remember. Okay. So I remember it's in season 12 and the episode is titled Collision Course. And the Unsubs name is Jonathan Rhodes. And the way he kills people is he hacks into their car.
Oh.
And then he turns off the brakes.
Yep.
And then he forces them to drive over other people, pedestrians in the road. And because there's like, I think it happens multiple times in the episode because he kills quite a few people where it's the scene and it's the person in the car and they realize that their brakes don't work and they realize that they're going to hit someone and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it because they have no control over their car. And it's just, you can see the realization on their face as they realize that they are going to murder somebody right in front of them. And there's nothing they can do. And that like terrifies me because like a lot of the things in the episodes are things that's like people are kidnapped and awful things happen to them, but it's hard to connect that to your life.
Oh yeah.
But like I drive all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that, okay, it's not something that would feasibly happen, but it's like a feasible fear to have because,
right.
Like and just like the idea of like your brakes are working and like being out of control like that is terrifying.
I'm trying to see. Do you remember if he ends up killing the drivers as well, or is it just the people the drivers hit?
No, I think it's just the people the drivers hit for most of them, I think. And then that's like also part of the thing afterwards because they have to live with the fact that they like it obviously isn't their fault.
Yeah.
But like how can you like it's your car that killed them right in front of you and they have to live with that.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. It's pretty sociopathic or psychopathic.
Yeah.
I'm not a psychology major. I 100% bet this podcast would be a lot like interesting if I was in college for like psychology. I'm not. Not even in college. I am an uneducated person.
We both took AP Psych though, right?
No, I took regular psych.
We both took Psych.
I took regular psych. Mary took smart person psych.
Okay, the only difference was that we had a test.
That's true.
At the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to say on that. Do you have anything else you want to say about that?
No. Just the viewers. Imagine what that would be like. Imagine you're driving your car and you lose control and your brakes stop working and then you hit someone right in front of you.
Oh God. Yep.
See, it's the spooky podcast.
It's the spooky episode for all the new drivers.
What would you do?
Honestly, what can you do in that moment? That scares me, especially like with new
Yeah,
cars.
there's like literally nothing they can do. They have no control. Like in other situations, you can like try to fight back or like you have options, even if the options aren't good ones. But there's like I don't even think they can get out of the car because they like lock the car door. I could be wrong, but
I'm trying to think of what would I would do. There's nothing to do. You just like because if you can't get out.
It also that episode reminded me of like how dangerous cars really are.
Yeah.
And like you never think of it, because like it's so easy to like just get in your car and then kill a whole bunch of people. And like it's just
I think about this every time I drive. Like we all learn, most of us, not all of us, but most of us learn how to drive at like 16 or 17, right? And we eventually get our own like these giant machines that we drive around freely. And after we learned maybe for 6 months, some of us practiced for 6 months, and then we just were on our own. We get our license and we drive. And the thing that scares me about is just the mass production and mass selling of cars. Like most people I know have a car. Like a good amount of people I know have cars.
Yeah.
And we just wheel them around, and we we fill up roads and freeways, and we all trust each other and ourselves to be in control of these like big giant machines that could easily like destroy things and kill people. Which
Like, is there a big difference between a tank and a car? A tank is just a car with a really big gun, honestly.
Quote of the year. Is there a really big difference between a tank and a car?
I'm not saying I'm going to kill anyone with a car.
I don't think
I'm just saying the idea scares me.
Yeah, the idea scares me too. Especially as a new driver. Like, oh my god, I should not have control of a big machine. Like, no one would ever let me control a forklift. But for some reason,
Exactly.
I can drive a minivan. Anyways. Yeah. Should I move on to the next thing?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. Next one. I'm excited for this one. Let's talk about Lindsey Vaughn. Which
I like her.
I do too. I don't know.
I think she's a cool gal.
By the way, Mary and I had a conversation the other night about female unsubs and how like every time it's a male unsub, we immediately are like, yeah, they're like a psychopath and there's no justification for what they're doing.
They're just an awful person.
But for female unsubs, we always take a second to be like, wait, hold on. There might be a little something.
I mean, she might have a point. Female unsubs and that one male unsub that was killing because his father was homophobic and abused him.
We always have a point. There's a point with that. I don't know if Lindsey Vaughn had a point. For her. It was more of just like trauma, but we'll get into that. So Lindsey Vaughn,
I do remember, like, she was the one who had the dad in witness protection, right?
Yeah. So Lindsey Vaughn, context, her dad was in witness protection, and she ended up being kidnapped by I think a couple of teenagers or just like young guys or stupid idiots for no reason. Kidnapped her. Father finds them before the team actually does. And
it was her and her friend that were kidnapped.
Yeah, in front of Lindsey and in front of our very own Dr. Spencer Reed. Lindsey's father kills the unsub. And because also she's telling her dad to do it. She's like, kill him. Kill the guys who have kidnapped me.
Because they killed her friend.
Yes. And so I think this is season 15, the last season, either that or
it was either season 15 or late season 14. It was pretty late.
Season 12 apparently. That's unexpected. I feel like
it might be a little bit and then she comes back. Anyways. Season 12 seems early. Maybe they're talking about when Reed first went to jail, because she was a part of that, but we didn't find out until later.
Okay, yeah. So I'm mainly talking about after that. I'm mainly talking about when it's revealed that Lindsey and Kat have kidnapped Spencer's mom. Big spoiler alert. And the reason why
you have to say that before.
No, that's not how that works. No.
You can't say the spoiler and then say spoiler alert.
It's okay. So the big thing about this the main reason why I added her to the list is because Lindsey's in love with Kat, and that's the main reason why she helps Kat with kidnapping. Oh, by the way, they were the ones who framed Spencer, right? For sorry, I tried to cover the candle for murder. Spoiler alert.
Just put it in the caption of the video.
I'm not gonna try that hard. Anyways,
but honestly, if people are expecting no spoilers at this point, like, dude, what are you doing,
dude? Stop. But yeah. So she helps Kat because she is in love with Kat, and I think this is the first lesbian relationship I think we see in the series, or at least the first.
It's possible.
One. It's very possible.
It's possible. Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into my disappointment or our disappointment with the producers of Criminal Minds
for later episode.
We'll talk about that later. For not having any LGBTQ plus people in the show as main characters. We're not going to get into that. But I'm really interested in Lindsey Vonn as an unsub, just because of her motives and how I always thought it was not weird, but kind of interesting how they thought to bring her back. They really had like a whole catalog of unsubs that they could have brought back, or like former characters they could have brought back in the later seasons, and I think she was an interesting choice to bring back.
Especially because she wasn't an unsub before she got brought back. She was a victim.
Yeah. And also I think when she first appeared, we didn't get a lot of resolution for what happened to her. You know, her dad just killed her unsubs, and that kind of seemed to be it. But yeah. And then she simped for Kat. That's what she did. She simped for Kat.
Yeah.
And it got her to a very bad place.
But she did the right thing at the end.
In the end, she did.
Well, I mean, for the wrong reasons, but she did the right thing.
It's because she found out she was being screwed over by Kat.
Yeah, so she let Reed's mom go to spite Kat.
Here's to doing the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you want to move on with your next one, or do you want to keep talking about Lindsey Vonn?
Are you frozen? Oh, you were frozen for a sec.
Yeah, you were frozen too. Are we good?
It says my internet connection is unstable.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Okay, so should I go, or do you want to keep talking?
You can go.
Okay. So my next person is from season 7, episode 2, and the unsub's name is Cy Bradstone. And the backstory for him is that he's a mentally ill. I don't think that they never explain what kind of, like, I think it was he like didn't get a lot of oxygen in the womb or something. I don't know. It was some weird thing. And so he's basically homeless, but he's like really close with his brother and his brother's family. And then you find out that when his brother and his brother's wife were in high school, Cy assaulted his brother's wife and has always been in love with her. And then and he's like homeless, so he like a lot of people tell him that he like smells bad and is like ugly and stuff. So he kidnaps women, and then he pours a type of acid, it might be chloric acid or something, hydrochloric acid, it's some type of acid. He pours acid on their like sensory organs. So he pours it on the eyes of one girl. He pours it in the ears of another girl. I think he pours it down the throat of one girl to like destroy her sense of taste. And like whenever I watch that episode, I have to skip through the unsub scenes because I just cannot watch it, because it just like the idea of that, it just like freaks me out so bad that I literally can't watch it. And then like the scariest part is at the end, he kidnaps his brother's niece. Yeah. Like this girl that like loves him because he's her uncle, and like he's been around for her entire childhood. And then he kidnaps her because she looks like her mom, who he's been in love with. And then he pours hydrochloric acid on her hands to destroy her sense of touch. And it's scary because of like what he does, and also because like his family had like basically no idea. I mean, the mom kind of did because she didn't know the extent of it, obviously, but she knew he wasn't a good guy. But then like the niece doesn't know that he's anything other than like the uncle that she loves until she's being kidnapped, and she's like, what are you doing? So that's one of the scariest episodes for me, or maybe not scary, it's more like freaky, and it just kind of like grosses me out.
Well, I don't know. I think it's pretty freaky just because it's such like a visceral idea, and like it's different kind of torture. Also, he videotapes the torture, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I can't remember if it's video or just audio, but he definitely records it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was video, and the thought of that, there's something there. I don't like that. I'm trying to see if I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about that particular episode. You pretty much said it all. It's scary, and I don't like it. And I also have trouble watching the unsub scenes from that episode.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything else, or should I?
No, I have nothing else to say.
Okay. My next unsub is David Smith, season 3. Well, he first appears in season 3, but he later reappears in season 14, episode 10, as the unsub. So we first get introduced to David Smith because his father is an unsub who kidnaps and tortures women. And his dad uses David as kind of the ploy to get women to come home with them. His son, distracts them, says, "I'm lost." The dad comes in, and the dad holds a knife basically to the back of the woman while dragging them into his car. And that, I think it's interesting that he later becomes an unsub, I think. Or that, yeah. And there's a part in it where he's like, "I've become the man that I was raised to be," or something like that his father raised him to be. And I think it's always an interesting perspective to like be the kid of like a killer. And I feel like, I mean, obviously I don't have that experience, but if
I would hope not.
If my parents were killers, I feel like I'd live my life being afraid that eventually I would feel the need to kill someone as well. Which is a really scary thing. And I think it's.
I mean, if I remember it correctly, this could be a different episode, but he kills people because he's off his like antipsychotic medication.
It might be that.
And he goes on a spree, I think, because of PTSD, and he gets set off.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the episode. I remember the first scene where he kills people. He's like trying to get his medication at the pharmacy, and he can't. I think he ran out of refills, and like the security guard comes up behind him and has a knife or something, and then he like takes the knife and he starts stabbing people. But I don't think he wasn't a premeditated killer, from what I remember.
You know what? I can confirm you're talking about a different unsub.
What episode is that?
It's the guy who he has like really severe. He was kidnapped as a child, and
no, but they thought he was kidnapped, but he was the son of the serial killer.
Oh yeah, but that's the unsub you're talking about. It's a different unsub.
Okay, I wasn't listening perfectly well then. Sorry.
It's fine. No, it's fine. But yeah, no, I think it's a really interesting. Not interesting because this is scary, but it's a intriguing concept, and also a kind of reference to Seaver, who is on the team for like a minute, who was the daughter of a killer.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
But put in the console if you like Seaver. A lot of people didn't. I don't know. I thought she was okay. She was kind of just like a fill-in for JJ for like a quick second.
Yeah. She had the same personality type as JJ, which is the girl on the team.
Yeah.
Me and Frankie have talked about this before.
Even though Prentice is on the team. And Garcia's on the team. We have to stop treating this like Garcia is.
Yeah, but Garcia and Prentice have personalities that have and characters that have been written out well for them.
Okay.
Where Seaver and JJ and what's her name?
Blake?
I'm not gonna say my nickname for her.
Oh, Kate.
Because it's bad. Yes. And Kate. Don't say it.
To give context,
no,
I won't say it. But to give context, Mary has a really horrible nickname she gives to Kate because Mary can't remember Kate's name.
She only has one character trait. Yeah, all three of those women, they're just their personalities is the girl on the team, and they have nothing beyond that. They are the women, and they have kids. Except Seaver doesn't have kids, but
yeah. Okay.
We don't have to talk about that right now, though.
Should we move on to your next Unsub then?
Oh yeah, okay. This is my last one. Once again, I do not remember the backstory of the Unsub whatsoever. But okay, so this was in season 4, and if I remember correctly, it was like the season finale episode. It was a 2-parter.
Mm-hmm.
It was called To Hell and Back, Part 1 and Part 2. And the Unsub's name was Charles Holcrum.
Okay.
And he was a house cleaner Unsub. And I remember they find out about him because I can't remember what city he's from, but the detective from that city, he goes to the team and personally asks them to look into this serial killer because he's like they make him do like a beat cop work because no one likes him at the precinct. And he personally keeps track of like all the like not stationary people that are in like the bad parts of town, like the prostitutes and the homeless people, the vulnerable. The team would call high risk people.
High risk, yes.
And these people have been going missing, but no one believes him. No one in his city, like the detectives in his city, no one believes him because they're all like high risk people and they could have just left the city anyway. Yeah. But like if he's right, then like I think it's like many hundred people he has like written down that would have been like that are missing or dead. Yeah. And so they go and look into it, and I don't think I can watch these scenes either because there's just a scene where he like the Unsub kidnaps people and then they wake up and they're not wearing any shoes and they're in this like creepy dark room and they like open the door and they have to like walk across broken glass to get out. And then there's like all of these like it's like this terrible, horrifying, sadistic maze that they have to get out. And there's dogs in there that are chasing them, and there's like blood on the walls. And like I said, they have to walk across broken glass. And then at one point she's been hurt so badly that she's like crawling on the ground, and then she thinks she's gotten to the end of the maze because there's like a door open and she thinks that there's light outside, and then she crawls through and she's just in another room with the light on. And I remember at one part in the maze there's like she's being chased by the dogs and she only has one way to go, so she like goes into the room and she slams the door shut, and then she's in a room that's titled like on the wall, The Killing Room. Yeah. And she's like locked in there because she can't leave because there's like dogs chasing her. And that's just like it's that episode is like frightening because of like the horrible things this man does to people, like the mind games that he plays on people. Yeah. And also because he believes he's doing the right thing because he's cleaning up the world. He's like getting rid of the people that like don't deserve to be alive, which is a horrible thing in and of itself. And also no one believes that it's happening. And if this one detective hadn't taken it upon himself to go to the team, like probably thousands more people would have died before they realized anything was happening, if they realized anything was happening.
It's horrifying because he could have easily gone away with it if it weren't for this one guy who was like, hey, a lot of people are going missing. Also, I don't know if this is what the show producers or show creators or writers meant to do, but there's a scene at the end of the episode where the team is like coming out, like leaving the killing space, and they're all exiting out, or either exiting like out or like out from where it said the killing room. Mm-hmm. And in my brain, that means that the Unsub purposely wrote the killing room when in actuality that was the actual exit.
Oh, so I don't remember that.
I don't know if that's the thing, but if you were to go watch that episode, there is a scene where like you can see the team going through that space, and it doesn't seem like that's the actual killing room, which would make sense for a sadistic Unsub to actually do, because why label the actual killing room when you're trying to get people to not escape. There's also a scene in that episode I remember where she's like, I think either at the end or at the very beginning, she can see like all of the shoes of the previous.
Oh yeah, there's like a room full of them.
I don't like that. It's also very scary because I feel like if I were in that situation, I would be like, just kill me. Like I do not want to go through like 6 because they have to do it right like by the sunrise or something or by like the next morning or something.
Oh yeah, that's what he tells them, I think. I doubt he'd actually go through with it, but
yeah. But like imagine like going through that whole process for at least like hours. Like that is psychological torture for just hours straight. And, like,
yeah.
I can't imagine making it to the end just out of pure like lack of stamina and like mental stamina.
Yeah, emotional stamina, like just going through that much stress for that long.
But yeah. So, do you have anything else to say about that episode?
No, I can't remember his backstory.
I feel bad. I always feel like I take it away from you when you like have a turn to talk, and then I'm instantly like, "Oh, this is what I have to say."
Oh no, that was a good addition. I didn't remember that part.
I would like to remind the viewers that Mary and I are equals in this podcast. We are co-hosts.
Yeah, but Frankie is the editor in chief, so.
Anyways,
honestly, I think Penelope should be the editor.
Do you want to edit it?
No, I don't know how.
Anyways, okay, so
I mean, considering the last time remember when I tried to share my screen on the thing and I couldn't figure it out?
Yeah.
It took like 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes is a bit of a stretch, but it took a while.
Wait, hold on. I thought you just reminded me I'm gonna reclaim host before I forget. Anyways, so my last unsub, I don't remember anything about her. There's only one reason I have her on the list. Her name is Jillian Carter, and the one reason I have her on the list, well, two reasons. Reason that's less important is that she's a soccer mom who is so bored with her life, she starts dealing drugs and working with drug cartels, which I love. I feel like there should be a spin-off series of her just on her life. Because how do you get there? How are you like, I'm bored. I am a house soccer wife, and I don't know what to do in my life. Let me
Soccer
wife. The new brand of Karen, soccer wives. I can't imagine how you get there, and also like how do you physically get there? Because obviously if you're just a regular like person, you don't immediately know how to get in touch with drug cartels.
Yeah, you definitely don't.
This woman was like, okay, I'm like, this woman successfully got into contact with drug cartels and also is kind of good at it. Second reason why she's on the list is because she's played by the same lady who played the teacher in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Deck.
God.
It's the same actress, who is amazing, by the way, but I love that she was in Criminal Minds. Can I bring up for a second? This is like a later episode. We will talk about the very famous guest stars that end up on Criminal Minds throughout the years. But it's shocking sometimes just how famous people are in this show. Reminder, Mark Hamill was in Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Post Star Wars. Like, that's insane. But yeah, I don't have much to say about her because I'm not really interested in her backstory as an unsub. I was just kind of like, that's the teacher from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on Deck.
Can you imagine if Mark Hamill was on Criminal Minds before Star Wars? Like, that's how long the show's been running?
It's like Doctor Who. Okay. Well, like, but yeah, imagine if Criminal Minds writers were able to write for that extended amount and were able to carry storylines for that long.
The show would be shit by now.
Like, it's okay. I'll be honest. Criminal Minds at its prime was definitely like early seasons. I think we can all agree that season 15 and 14 Criminal Minds.
Original cast was prime cast.
I'll say that. I'll agree with that too. The later seasons are a bit rocky. And it's kind of the whole thing of like running out of ideas / wanting to tie up loose ends / this is our last
And
season.
they forget a whole bunch of things about the characters. Like, honestly, if they had remembered all the character backstory and traits they gave to the characters and then immediately forgot about, I think they could have had enough material to make like a bomb ass last couple seasons, but they just like started fresh.
We're gonna talk more in depth about this in a different episode, but there's so many little things that they drop, like they hint at subtly in the beginning seasons that would be so interesting to bring up later on. Would be so interesting, but they decided no. We're gonna constantly create new traumas for these characters until they're like dead, basically, at the end, and they just have to leave the team out of PTSD and trauma.
It's also embarrassingly obvious they weren't committed to ending the show until like season 14.
Oh yeah.
Because if they had started like season 12, season 13, wrapping up the plot points and had like this nice overarching thing, like at the end to wrap it all off, that would have been awesome. But like they kept doing little things because they're like, are we gonna have another season? Could we add something more? Get a little more cha-ching?
Oh my god, I can't imagine. This is probably never gonna happen. But like, imagine if this podcast somehow reaches a Criminal Minds writer and they're like, "Fuck you guys! You guys didn't write a show for like 10 years
you
straight."
back.
Mary and I don't have any experience, by the way, in like film or TV or psychology or anything. We're literally just spewing our opinions about Criminal Minds.
I could definitely write a better script than the one in Love and Monsters, though.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Criminal Minds, and I was like, you're kind of pushing it.
Oh no, I'm not going there.
Do we really have to discuss Love and Monsters? We don't have to, but here, to anyone who's
I'd
like,
say that.
to anyone who wants to waste like an hour and a half of their time and who wants to see Dylan O'Brien back on the screen for a little bit, watch Love and Monsters. It's not horrible, but it's pretty bland.
Okay, so you know when you watch the first 10 minutes of a show and you're like, this is what's going to happen? And you're like, no, that's too obvious. There'll be something else. Like, that's what happens in this movie.
Love and Monsters takes every apocalypse cliche and just stuffs it in there to the fullest.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's okay. But let's go back to what...
But we're talking about Criminal Minds.
Let's go back to the show that this podcast is actually supposed to be talking about. We're kind of coming towards the end. I think we started recording around 4:30.
Yeah, I think so. It's been like 15 minutes.
It's been almost an hour. We can still keep talking though, because my plan is to actually edit this episode, and I will do that as soon as we start recording. I will start editing. I'm trying to think of what else we could talk about.
I mean, I don't think I really have anything else to say.
Let's just think of random unsubs, and let's just spew what we remember about them.
Do you know what I remembered when I was talking?
Okay, what?
Do you remember that guy? Okay, this part we did like minimal research before. This is no research because we're just talking about random things. But remember that guy who he drove a taxi, and then if he liked the way the women smelled, he would kidnap them and then turn their skin into candles.
I rewatched this episode recently, and he'll like melt the women and like make them into candles, and he'll also cut off.
He literally turns them into candles.
I don't like that. It's Etsy has gone too far.
I do remember. There's like one of those scenes where you're like, a normal person wouldn't make that connection.
Oh yeah.
Like the only reason they know this is because the writers know it. Because I remember there's this scene where they like have the bodies and like the unsub he like cuts something out of their foot, like a little patch of skin.
Right. And
he uses that as like the little test thing that's like the sign, because he makes the candles out of them. And then there's a scene where like Reed is in the morgue and he's like, I've been thinking, these square patches of skin that he's taking, they could be scent samples. And then
Reed.
A normal person wouldn't make that connection.
Well, we gotta admit, Reed is not a normal person in any sense of the word.
Yeah, but
especially the way he's been written. It's just...
Okay, a real person would make that connection then.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Spencer Reed is not real. Well, it's kind of fortunately. I wouldn't want anyone to go through that amount of trauma in their lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Go check out our first 2 episodes if you want to hear us talk about...
Yeah, if you want to learn about trauma.
Go check out our first 2 episodes. Thank you for watching the Wheels Up podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope you have a happy and safe Halloween. Don't go trick-or-treating. And don't take your kids trick-or-treating. Don't be dumb. It's not safe. It's not safe this year.
Just buy candy at the store.
Buy candy
we aren't in hunter-gatherer times anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Quit being so unevolved. Go buy candy with your money. And go have a movie marathon. Or Criminal Minds marathon. Rewatch Criminal Minds this Halloween.
That would be a pretty good time to watch Criminal Minds, actually.
Yeah.
Just watch the episodes we talked about in this podcast. Because we definitely have the best idea of the scariest episodes.
Yep. We totally researched and ranked the scariest episodes of this episode. Yeah, thank you for watching. Mary, do you want to do your YouTuber outro?
No, I told you. If I do it once or twice, it's ironic. If I do it more than that, then it's just bad.
I will bring it up at the end.
And I don't want to become that type of person.
Well, I do. Make sure to like and subscribe and smash the notification bell to get notifications every time we post an episode. Thank you for watching the Wheels Up podcast. I am Frankie. This is, what's your name?
Penelope.
This is Frankie and Penelope. Say bye. Bye.
Bye.